Go for
Okay.
it.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Danyale Brown. I am the owner of Embrace Organics, owner-founder. I grow herbs and plants in my backyard garden and use those herbs and plants to make the products that you see here. I make salves, tinctures, and one of the things that I make that I really am loving nowadays is herbal body oil. And so today we're going to talk about herbal body oil and the sort of give you a little bit about my story and why I started doing it. And then at the end, we'll talk about how to make it. So I will be using lavender today. This lavender, does not come from my garden. This lavender comes from my parents' garden in Southern California in the desert. Lavender loves to grow in sandy soil. So they have an abundance of it. And so they send it to me about once a quarter. And so I get these huge vats of it. And so a lot of the products that I make have lavender in it because I just have it in abundance. And also lavender is just such a beautiful and useful plant. It's aromatic. When you have a really healthy plant, the oils in it are just like popping. It's so good. And so I love to use it. I love to burn lavender. I have a couple of smoke medicine sticks. I don't like to use the word smudge because it's not part of my culture. So smoke medicine sticks that I use. I use this with lavender. And also I make salves and oils with the lavender as well. So just wondering if anybody here, like, do you use herbal oils? Have you used a lavender herbal oil?
Yeah, like an essential oil I've
Yeah.
used, or I've used like essential oil.
Okay, so essential oil is a little bit different than an infused herbal oil. Essential oil is a highly concentrated version. So they take lots and lots of the plant and they concentrate it down and get the essential oils from the plant. And then it takes so much of the plant to make just a little bit. So it's a beautiful way to have like a very fragrant, I use essential oils as well in my diffuser and like under my pillow and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But this oil is a little bit different. So you're taking the plant, and the properties of the plant are obviously within the plant. So you're taking that, you're mixing it with a fat, and this is olive oil, and then you're letting it sit for 4 to 6 weeks. I like to do a sun infusion, so I put it in a sunny window for 4 to 6 weeks. And then the benefits and properties of the plant are kind of leach into the oil. And so then once the 4 to 6 weeks is over, the oil is now, and excuse me, I like to reuse jars. So this is a honey jar that I got from the Cat Farmers Market. After 4 to 6 weeks, the oil is infused with the plant medicine. And so when you put it on your skin, with our skin being the largest organ, you're just really like feeding your skin, almost as if you're taking it internally, right? Like you're giving yourself the medicine internally. When we put herbal oils on our skin, we're giving our skin the medicine that this plant has. So I love it. I get really excited about it. I started making it about 3 years ago. I learned from a teacher called Cammie McBride, and about 8 years ago, I had my daughter, Cooper, and she was born with eczema. So I had a home birth, and the very next day, she was scratching. Her little tiny baby hands were just scratching her skin, and I had no idea what was going on or why this was happening. And she was my first child, so I was obviously freaked out properly. And after doing a little bit of research, I realized that she had some internal stuff that we needed to work on, and we did the dermatologist thing. And because I wanted to be a good mom and cross all the T's and dot all the I's. But what we found when we went to the dermatologist was that we would put the steroids on her skin and her skin would loosen like they promised. But she's a baby, and so I just thought she'll never forgive me when she's 14 and she's got this loose skin because we've been using these steroids. And so I had to do a little bit of research on what would be better for her skin and what would actually like heal her skin and not just be a band-aid. And so what I found was, one, shea butter, raw shea butter, really natural products, but raw shea butter and infused oils were the most effective thing on her skin. And so we started making shea butter, and over years I got better and better at it. And over years I've tested different herbal oils to see what kind of works better. And so I have a couple of different versions here, but today, like I said, we're going to talk about lavender oil. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the healing benefits of lavender oil. I have this little printout from Cami McBride. And so the actions, it's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, antispasmodic, relaxing nervine, and vulnerary. And it also, so this is going to be a long list of stuff. It's going to help with dry patchy eczema. It's going to support fatigue. Helps with headaches. So if you rub it on your temples, it can help soothe headaches or migraines, or the back of the neck. It helps with itchy skin, joint pain and stiffness, low back menstrual pain, low back or abdominal pain. You can use it as a massage oil. You can use it for muscle aches, muscle spasms, rashes, red and swollen skin, sleeplessness. I massage it on my feet and my hands if I can't get to sleep. It helps support stress, reducing your stress levels. Sun damaged skin, so if you get a bad sunburn, it's really nice to put on. Tension, topical inflammation, and then wounds. So post-acute. So you don't want to put lavender infused oil on any open wounds. You want to make sure that the wound has closed, and then you can put it on, and it'll help heal that part a little bit faster. So those are the things that Cami McBride says are lavender oil is used for. I love to use it as a facial cleanser. So what I'll do is I will put like a warm washcloth on my face. I will rub the oil on. So like I'll have one of these guys, and I'll put the warm washcloth on my face. I'll rub some of this on, just a little bit, goes a long way, and just keep rubbing, and the idea is that it will rub out the dirt in your skin. And so then you'll get, I like to gua sha, so then I'll gua sha to, because that easy slip is already there, so why take it off before I do my thing. So I'll gua sha a little bit for about 5 minutes, and then I'll get the same washcloth, warm it up again, and then I'll exfoliate by rubbing the washcloth all over my face. And the glow that shows up on my skin after I do this, I really don't need to do much more. So I'll do that, and then I'll do a little bit of like a moisturizer and a little bit of sunscreen, and I'm off to the races. So that's how I like to use it. I also use it as an after shower moisturizer. So while I'm still in the shower, I'll rub it everywhere. And I don't know if back in the day there was like I think Aveeno had like a oil that they sold in the store, and it's full of stuff, right? But it was something to help you moisturize in the wintertime, so you didn't have to get out and put the lotion on. So you get out, you in the shower, you put the oil on, then you get out, and then you put their lotion on. And so for me, I use an herbal infused oil for that, and then when I get out, I'll use my shea butter. So it's a beautiful combination. I stay moisturized most all day in the summer in this Georgia humidity, and most all day in the wintertime when it's nice and dry. So okay, so that's that. Any questions so far from anybody? No? Okay.
What was the oil you use again? Type of oil? Or like
olive oil.
Olive oil.
Yep. Then the more pure the olive oil, the better, obviously. The olive oil that I use sometimes has like a smidge of extra virgin, but I like to use whole olive oil.
Yeah. Do you use any other like oils, or like, I know the Bush Ninja in the past has used like baobab oil or stuff like that for his salve.
A friend of mine last night talked about baobab oil, and I'm gonna get some from her tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use grapeseed oil, you can use avocado oil, you can use really any oil that you want. It just depends on what your skin receives best. I find that olive oil does not clog my pores, and it goes on nicely and it comes off nicely. So what I don't want, because I do wear makeup, I don't want to have like a layer of oil on my skin that I can't really get off.
Yeah.
Olive oil penetrates the skin in a nice way. Also, there are plenty of benefits to olive oil as well, and then it comes off pretty smooth, so that I don't have like layers.
Yeah.
So that's just my preference. Also, Cami McBride, whose class I took on this oiling, recommended olive oil because her teachers recommended olive oil. But I also really love grapeseed oil, and I love avocado oil. So you can use those too. And I say play with it, right? Like, I think part of the beauty of using herbals and using natural products is that there are no rules. You just do what feels good, do what works for your body and your skin. And we all have different things that we need when it comes to our skin and our health. And so there's no prescription, right? There's no one way to do it. So yeah, I use olive oil, but I definitely recommend you try what feels good for you. So this is the lavender plant. As mentioned, it's very fragrant. if you beat it up, I like to tell people beat it up a little bit. So if I knock it around a little bit, you really get to smell it. Does anybody want to hold it, touch it, smell it, pass it around? And so this is what I use when I make the oils. So there's going to be a little bit of flour at the end, but I use a lot of the leaf as well. And what I'll do, thank you. Okay. Yeah. Doesn't that smell good? And it kind of inspires a deep kind of, like it makes you just, yeah. It's very dry. They sent it to me in the spring, so it's been drying for quite a while. Yeah. So, in addition to sort of giving you that opportunity to take a deep breath, lavender oil just calms the body down. Like we talked about, it helps you get to sleep and all of that. So, what I'll do when I'm about to make my oil is I'll dry the plant completely. So you don't want to make any oil with plant that has moisture in it, because where there's moisture, there's bacteria, and oils, bacteria grows in oil very quickly, and so you can smell if you've gotten a little bit of water in your oil, it's going to go rancid really fast, and you don't want to put that on your skin. Like you'll know, and you'll be like, I'm not putting this on my skin. So you want the plant to be very, very dry. Once the plant is super dry, I'll take some, and I just kind of, just like this, like I'll just pull it down like that and collect all of the leaf, just like that. Smush it up as much as I can until I've got like a nice little tiny pieces. Sometimes I'll use a mortar and pestle and just beat it up, just knock it around a little bit while I'm listening to music or something. But once I have enough, and I brought some that I'd already done a couple of days ago, I've got this. So like a nice crumbly.
You can smell it from here. Smell it from here.
You can, right?
Yeah,
Right? It
yeah,
smells
I
so good. It does. And one of the things, I don't want to gush. I'm gonna start gushing. One of the things that I found is like really, really healing when making plant medicine is just to use all of your senses while you're making the medicine. So, like I take the dried plant and like I said, beat it up. I smell the dried plant. I smell it once I've got it into these little crumbles. And so the way that there are many ways to make an oil infusion. The way that I do it is an alcohol intermediary method. And so that is when once you get all of the pieces in nice small bits, you add a little bit of like vodka, 100 proof vodka, to it to rehydrate the plant. And so you leave it for about 12 to 24 hours. And then once the plant is rehydrated, that's how you can really get this wasn't as fragrant as this, right?
No.
Right, so the alcohol really pulls out a lot of that oil and the fragrance there. So we've got the plant, we've added a little bit of alcohol in it, we've let it sit with like oil or a cloth on top for 12 to 24 hours. And so now it's time to make the medicine, or skin medicine. So you take a jar. I sanitized this jar last night. You want to make sure you sanitize it. You don't want anything, plants are sacred, right? And we grow them with love, and we harvest them with love, and we're drying them with love, and that's a long process. And so how sad would it be to get through all of that and then have like a dirty jar, and then your oil goes rancid because there's bacteria in the jar, right? So make sure you sanitize your jar. And then once you're ready, once the plant is ready to go in, I just add it to the jar. And again, I'm smelling it the whole way. I'm smelling it. I'm smiling. I'm enjoying myself, and I think I really believe that the intention that you put into whatever you're making comes out. I don't know if you've like cooked food for your family in a bad mood, and does the food come out good?
No.
It never does for me either. Right? It never does. If I'm just grumpy or I'm just getting through it, the food doesn't. There's no love in it, right? Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. I put about a third, a little bit, like about a half into the jar. So as I'm doing it, a third to a half, as I'm doing it, I'm just like thinking about things I love. I'm extending gratitude to the universe. I'm saying thank you for my family, for the fact that for my parents who I got this beautiful plant from. And I'm just like putting out good vibes and good energy because I want what comes out of this to be really, really good and to be healing. And so I put this, the plant in here. So about 1/3 to 1/2 will do. Obviously, the more plant you put in, the more potent. But the more plant you put in, the less oil you'll have at the end. So you want to find like a nice balance, right? So we've got that in there. Take the olive oil. On top. I like to do it slowly for reasons you'll find out in a minute. Just like water will cause issues with your oil, air will as well, right? So we don't want any air in this jar by the time, or as little air as possible by the time we're done. So I did not bring a stick, so I'm gonna do this.
We've got lots of sticks around.
I've got these lavender sticks. I'm gonna find a thick one.
I think she's gonna use the lavender.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the lavender stick. And so you want like a knife, a clean, a stick, and whatever you've got, and just break it up a little bit. And what we're doing here is just we're pulling the air from that was stuck in the plant matter that was at the bottom, and we're getting that to pull up top. And I feel like this music, what's happening right now is on point. It's on point. Okay. So I taught this, I gave a little demonstration to some little tiny tots a couple of weeks ago. They're like between 3 and 8. And I told them once you put the oil in, kind of like do this a little bit just to get the air out, and that was their favorite part. Banging the jar on the ground. Okay, so I think we're good when it comes to that. Another thing, like again, you don't want too much air in your jar, so the more you fill the jar, the better. So we're gonna fill it up until we can't fill it up no more. Okay.
Like literally the open space.
You want to close as much of the gap as you possibly can. So then close her up. And another important part of this process is making sure that there's some heat. So shaking the oil. I'd like to do it ideally every day, but I live a life. I've got 2 kids. So anytime I'm walking by my little window area that I have the oils sitting in and I just notice them, I just go show them a little love, just give them a shake. And so just give it a nice shake. Some people say put it in the blender and blend it up. I don't know, I feel like that pulverizes the herb a little bit. Like, do we really, I mean, come on.
Wouldn't that potentially bring in more air?
Yeah, it might. Yeah, so I just like to.
I think you should work with your hands.
Yes, I agree.
Tying it to your car, your wheel, your bike wheel, so when you bike around.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, as long as it doesn't go flying, you got to tie it really well.
Break on, really.
Yeah. So yeah, just give it a nice shake, and it's looking good. It's all mixed up. My last step is to label. So I have a funny story. A couple months ago, I went to South Carolina, and I went to the Gullah Geechee Herbal Conference, and was able to harvest all these beautiful plants and brought them home. And I brought some Spanish moss, and got the Spanish moss and had it drying and all that. And when I finally put it in the oil, so I was making an infused oil with it, I was busy, so I didn't label it. And came back to it about a week ago, and I was just like, wait, what is this? When did I make this? And so it really can affect your medicine. Like, so I have to wait extra long to harvest it, to strain it, because I don't know when I made it. So you want to make sure you label everything, because this is living stuff, and we don't want it to go bad waiting on us to be ready. So this is lavender, and I did an alcohol.
So what are some of those like time frames that it would go bad? Like what is the shelf life?
I think it would be, so when you do the alcohol intermediary method, it has a longer shelf life because the alcohol is protecting the matter. But if you so I've actually not experienced this oil go bad because I use it often. But I would say 6-9 months. If you leave it like this for like 6 or 9 months, I don't know if it would be a positive experience when you took it out. I usually, like I said, I usually just do between 4 and 6 weeks, like a moon cycle, and that is a good time. And also aligning it with the moon it never hurts, right? So yeah, just not months and months, and definitely for a oil infusion, not months and months and months. For a tincture, for an alcohol infusion, you can leave your tinctures. I've seen people leave like years and be like, "Is this still good?" And it's just like potent. It's like, it's potent. So yeah. And then today is November 16th. Okay. So I love to use this easy tape because it goes on and off super easy. And there we have it. So there's my oil. This is the beginning. And we'll leave it for, like I said, 4 to 6 weeks, a moon cycle, shaking it every once in a while. And then once we feel good about it, right, it's been a couple of weeks, we've got an infused lavender oil. And so I'm going to talk about how I strain it too. So I'll strain it back into this oil jar. I take a nut milk bag. She's on there. Yeah, that's good. I take a nut milk bag. I sanitized this as well last night.
Would you sanitize it with? Just alcohol?
Alcohol, hot water, yeah, just to get whatever's on there off. Stick her in. And obviously there's gonna be more here, so I'm not gonna strain the whole thing, but I just dump her in there. And I'm gonna make a mess. What I typically do is this. I have it in a bowl. Yeah, and then I'll just squeeze. And then once this is done, I'm gonna pass this jar around so you guys can smell what we're left with. I'm unapologetically like messy because I got kids. Like they're yelling at me. Somebody wants a snack. So I'm just like, we gotta get it done so we can move on. Period. Okay. So if somebody wants to come grab, I want to make sure. Oh yes, take some.
Ooh.
I need some lotion on my hands.
Yes. There you go.
Perfect.
That's good.
Yeah.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah, no, we don't mind the mess. Yeah.
Nothing goes to waste.
No,
Yeah.
nothing. And human touch,
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
Human
as
touch.
well, that connection of, yeah, like,
So I'm gonna pass this around.
Yeah.
You wanna come grab this? It's got a little slip to it, so be careful. But you can moisturize with it. You can pour a little bit in your hands if you'd like. Just give it a smell and just see. Do you see?
Yeah, it does. Smell good.
Isn't that nice?
I would just pour it instead of dipping your hand in. No.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not edible because we put the alcohol in it. It is not edible.
Okay.
We don't want to consume it.
Too much.
But you can make a lavender oil that you use in your cooking.
Right.
You just wouldn't do the alcohol part.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it? Alcohol?
Make sure you have a plant matter that you have not sprayed.
Yeah.
Why does alcohol make it not edible?
I don't know. I think it's the way that the alcohol interacts with the plant and then the oil. I'm not exactly positive why, but I was warned not to consume. Yeah. I love watching y'all just like rub this stuff all over your skin. This is giving me life. I love it.
It smells amazing.
And you know, like sometimes I think
I know.
when I was going through a time in my life where I was just having a hard time, what I noticed was when like I just wasn't breathing deeply. And sometimes you just need like that belly breath to just like shake off whatever you got going on. Infused oil, like I love lavender oil for this, and I love St. John's wort oil for this. It just inspires you to just take that deep, deep breath. And sometimes when you breathe like that, it clears your mind. It shakes away whatever you were holding on to, right?
It would be super nice before bed, huh?
Oh, yeah.
It is so nice before bed.
Might shower. Might shower and you put this on.
Yes,
All over
yes.
your body. Man.
Welcome. So this is what sometimes if I'm having, like I mentioned those children of mine, if I'm just having a moment with them, or if I just need a break, I'll take a moment away. I'll take a little ashwagandha and I'll put some lavender oil in my hands and remind myself why I'm homeschooling. Why am I doing this? So, yeah.
I was hoping people be smarter.
You were?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
I think so.
Oh yeah, I did actually. I love being homeschooled.
Okay.
I like going to school.
Yeah, they're liking it so far. The one thing that's just difficult for us is that kid-to-kid connection. So we're always looking for other children that are homeschooled to play with. But they're in Taekwondo. My daughter is learning Spanish. So I think extracurricular activities and a social life are two really important things. But we love it so far. It's our first year. So there we go. So once you've got your jar, you want to keep the oil in a like we mentioned. You don't want too much air in the jar. So let's say you make like half of this, right? You want to find a jar that will fill the oil up to the top. Because the longer, she says, don't flam your oils. I'm not gonna be able to remember what that means, but you just don't want a whole lot of air at the top of your oil. So you have this. You put the top on. This is a decent amount. And then you can store it in a cool, dark place for whenever you want to use it. It's nice to put it in like an amber bottle. That'll keep it for a nice long time. And then you use it for all the reasons we talked about, for your face, your body, sleep, your kids, yeah. And so, or you can make body butters and salves with it, like I do. So I do a raw, like I mentioned, raw shea butter, and then I'll do about a quarter cup, depending on your ratios. I'll do about a pound of shea butter and a quarter cup of the oil for that. And then for salves, you just use beeswax and oil. I think it's like a 2-to-1. And that's that. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question. It's like,
Yeah.
like if you were to sell that, like how much would you sell like one of the little bottles for? Like for
Yeah, so my oils are $10 for the small one and then $12 for the larger one.
nice.
Yeah. So the person that I was buying them from, she lives in California, so I give her that. But her oils are like $30. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, it makes you think twice about whether or not do I actually need this. And I think the point of this is to get it in people's lives, right? And so if you can't really afford, I try to make it affordable
Yeah.
so that it doesn't feel, there's no buyer's remorse when you're using it, right?
Right.
So yeah, everything that I sell is pretty reasonable. Even the lion's mane tincture, there's a black-owned farm nearby that sells it for $33 for a 1-ounce jar, and I was so taken aback. I took a picture of it. I was like, oh my god, this is, I would never, like I can't, you know. So mine is $15, and my other tinctures are, like I said, 10 and 12. So it's important to make sure it's accessible.
Yeah.
Both at one time. So you take tinctures internally for the most part. There are some tinctures you can actually put at, like, you can apply externally, like yarrow will help heal a wound if you just use a tincture. But the tinctures are used internally and the oils are used externally. And so my kind of mission, what I'd say is plant diversity heals the inside and out. So if we incorporate a little bit of this into our lives, inside and out, I I think we're going to be better for it. I've been better for it, having left the corporate environment, working with C-suite folks and all that. It's changed my life and softened me up a little bit and made life better, I think. Yeah.
Just living the C-suite.
Oh, yeah. It's, you know, depending on where you are in life, it can be very affirming or it can be very damaging. So at one point it was affirming, like I made it, I'm hanging out with CFOs, but then eventually it's, you know, thinking about the impact of Black, Indigenous peoples and poor people. It's not worth it. So at this point, for me. So yeah, any other questions? I hope I can answer.
Where can people like follow your journey and you know, keep in touch with what you're working on?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Facebook, Embrace Organics. I don't know if you can see that little sign. Simple, Embrace Organics. And my business name came from, I really love Drika Gates. I don't know if you guys know her, but she was a music manager. She managed her partner, and then he ended up buying her like a farm up north somewhere. I don't say outside of Detroit, maybe Chicago. And one day I was like thinking of my business name, and I was just like on Instagram and saw her post, and she mentioned like embrace the organic parts of life, and I was like, embrace organics, that works, that's it. And plant diversity heals is that. So embrace Facebook, Embrace Organics, Instagram, Embrace the Organic, and I have a website, embracetheorganic.com, and then I'm on TikTok sometimes. Your Herbal Bestie.
Your Herbal Bestie.
Yeah.
What other questions do folks have?
Any other
more?
questions? Let me know if you want to try anything. You can try the butters. We can talk about the salves.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Like, would you recommend any like books or resources for people who want to like dive deeper into like oil or tincture making, things that have helped you along the way? Or
Yes. So I love YouTube. Obviously, YouTube University is it. So that you can find, and it just depends on who you vibe with. So you can find lots of people who talk about this stuff and make this stuff on YouTube. It's a very simple process. Like we just saw, it was like 5.5 steps, right? The same with tinctures. You take the plant medicine. You can use it can be dried or fresh for tinctures. Throw some vodka on top, some liquor. Throw some liquor on top, and let it sit for 4 to 6 weeks, and then you've got your medicine. So it's really quite simple. But the text that I really love. This is my favorite herbal book, and I was sharing with this gentleman over here. It's a loved book, so it's just at the seams. I'm in here almost every day, just like researching a plant or another. When I go foraging, I like to bring this book with me, and I'll just like take a picture of the thing, and I'll use my phone to identify, and then I'll come straight to this book and see like what this plant could do for my life. So this is called the Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine by Andrew Chevalier. I also love, I have 2 more. This book went viral, and I'm not going to say I didn't get caught up in the hype. I got caught up in the hype. The Lost Book of Herbal Remedies. This is a good one as well. I don't love it as much as I love the encyclopedia. It's not as comprehensive, so it's not as many herbs and plants in here, but it is really, really good for like healing specific things. So it'll tell you the plant, and then it'll tell you what it'll do. And then it gives you like warnings if there's any issues. So this is a good one, and this is, again, the Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, The Healing Power of Plant Medicine by Nicole Appelin and Claude Davis. And then, I should have showed this one last, so it's my 3rd favorite. My 2nd favorite is this one, African American Herbalism. And this is by Lucretia Van Dyke. It's a practical guide to healing plants and folk traditions. And what I love about this book is that it gives you, in the beginning of the book, it talks about the plant world. It talks about African American ancestry when it comes to plants and the way that we use plants in our life. It gives you a good number of kind of like plants that you can use for a lot of different things. So it's not going to be a comprehensive look like the encyclopedia, but it's going to give you the plants that you can find nearby and that you can use for a lot of different elements of your life, body and spirit. And then it goes into sort of spiritual practices and ways that you can like integrate the plant medicine into different parts of your life. So this page 151, Love and Healing Heartbreak, and it talks about the plants that you can use to really affect that. And then it gives you like some recipes and things like that. So this is a really nice kind of like pocket or purse book that you can just have and flip through whenever you're interested in learning a little bit more. So this is my second favorite book. The encyclopedia is my first, and then the Lost Book of Herbal Remedies is my third that I have today. I've got many, many more at home, but these are the three that I kind of open up most often to check in and to see what I need to do. Yes.
So if I don't have family members growing lavender, where would I find it?
I really love getting my herbs from co-ops. So I believe in cooperative economics.
Yes.
So I love Frontier Co-op. I really, really love that organization. They do a lot of give back. They source they don't like they don't take advantage of the land as they grow the herbs, and they are really kind to the people that they source their herbs from. So I love Frontier. Also, obviously, Mountain Rose herbs is really, really good. Those are the two that I kind of lean into. I try not to buy from Amazon, but we're all gonna have to get something from Amazon every once in a while. Or
Seven Under.
Seven Under will have some. Yep, Seven Under will have some lavender. And then your local nurseries. I would definitely recommend like asking like on Nextdoor, or there's an app called Farm Fresh 347. Farm Fresh 247. I'm sorry, 24/7. Yes. And you can like post a question on there, like, does anyone have any lavender or any mugwort or yarrow? And then people will barter with you on that app, or they'll sell it to you. Yeah, so that's really, really cool. It's called Farm Fresh 24/7. Yep. It is an app developed by, I think it's a Black-owned company. They developed the app about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's growing kind of slowly. But I think the more of us that download and interact, the better it'll be for us all. So yeah. Anything else? Yeah, ask a neighbor.
I've
Go
got one more for you.
forage.
What are your 3 favorite plants?
That's a mean question.
Or what 3 plants get you most excited?
St. John's wort
St. John.
is a miracle, and she is beautiful inside and out. So I took St. John's wort when I was having when I was realizing that corporate life wasn't for me, but I didn't want to let the money go. So I was having that little internal battle. So St. John's wort is phenomenal for depression and anxiety. It tastes so good. It holds you. When I take it in a tea form, it feels like you're being held. I actually have some in the car I forgot to bring out right now. I have some St. John's wort in my tea. And then externally, it is a mild pain reliever. People associate St. John's wort with the sun. The flower is a bright yellow, tiny little delicate flower. But then when you make an oil out of it, it turns bright, deep red. It's amazing. But when I use it at night, if I'm using it before bed, it knocks me out as if I was camping all day. Like I could be in an office all day, but then when I put it on my hands and feet before bed, I'm asleep like I was outside. It's such an amazing thing. Like I said, it heals wounds. It's a mild pain reliever. I've used it on stranger kids. Like I went to a splash pad with my kids last year, and a little tiny baby, 1-year-old baby, got knocked by his brother or something and scraped his face off. Like his face was scraped, and he was screaming, and his dad didn't know. His mom wasn't there, and his dad. He was doing his best, and all the moms came and gathered and was like, "How can we help?" And I ran to the car and I got my self-love salve, which is like a St. John's wort and lavender salve, and I just gave it to him. And I was like, put this on him and see if it helps. And he put it on, and I remember looking at the baby's face after he put it on. The child was like he stopped crying, and he was like looking around, like trying to process why he felt different. And at that point, I was like, "Ooh, St. John's wort, you keep doing it, you keep showing up." So that was the moment when I was like, okay, this is some real stuff. And so I use it on my kids when they fall every other day. I use it on them. I was telling somebody my son had some metal in his thumb from a toy car, and I didn't understand like what was wrong. He was just screaming. It was bedtime, and I thought he just didn't want to go to bed. And so we literally dipped his thumb into a jar of St. John's wort oil, and I did it 2 separate times. So I did it, sent him back. He came back and said it still hurt. We did it again about an hour later, and then the next morning he was just like, the first thing he said to me was like, my thumb doesn't hurt anymore. And so I was just like, that's it. That's dope right there. So St. John's wort I love. Mugwort I really love. So it is it's a woman's herb. There's so many things that it supports. I have something that talks about what it does topically. But what got me into mugwort was I mistakenly, when Roe versus Wade was overturned, I was like, okay, let's start figuring it out. What are we gonna do? And I mistakenly thought mugwort was the solution. It's not. It can really harm your baby if you try to use it in that way. But mugwort helps inspire dreams. You'll have some beautiful lucid dreams when you take mugwort. You can smoke mugwort as well. On the skin, it supports sensitive skin, fights bacteria and acne, which I have hormonal acne every once in a while. It's healing and soothing for the skin. It reduces redness, so if you get sunburns, it's really beautiful for that. And then it helps reduce sun damage over time. It's another one of those herbs, like if you should come over after this is over and smell. I have like a mugwort sugar scrub. It is, the fragrance of mugwort is like, it's earthy and sweet, and it's just so good. And then the third plant, what's the third one? I think lemon balm, I would say, which is like basic. She's such a basic, simple plant, but that's the plant that was gifted to me by my sister-in-law at the time, and she really started this whole journey. So I got the lemon balm plant, and I lived in an apartment at the time, and the sun was beaming on it, and it was burning up. And this is before I really started growing. It was about 6 years ago. So she was pretty much about to die, and I was like, I'm not losing another herb. Like, I just started researching and looking everything up, and I figured out that it was too hot. And so I moved her into some shade and gave her a lot of water, and that was the first plant that I actually brought back to life after just like with applied intention. And so I feel like that's the plant that I'm just like, she's always gonna be close to my heart. And then now she's all over my backyard because every year she flowers and seeds everywhere. And so I do, in the summertime, I do sell lemon balm because I just have so many little babies all around. Yeah.
Crohn's disease, is there anything that you'd recommend for like autoimmune inflammation?
For like external?
Like I have Crohn's disease for like an autoimmune thing, like internal inflammation.
Yeah, so I would definitely say let's take a look at the books. So I'm not familiar with that, and I definitely don't want to share something that's not gonna, without a lot of time like really researching that. So let's have a look, and then we can see. And then I know a while ago somebody asked me about fibroids, and I was like, I don't know. But let's look in the book, and we looked in the book and we found some solutions for them. So let's definitely do that once this is over. Yeah, thank you.
Amazing.
So, thank you
Great.
so much. Thank you guys so much for your
Thank
attention. I really
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
And if you haven't gotten to try the lavender, please give it a try. Did you get to try? Yeah, come try.